In this video, I am going to try and provide you with some reasons why your floor might be sagging, why you might have a dip in one section of the floor and not throughout the rest of the house. And this is important. I know a lot of professionals and do-it-yourselfers, they just go in and they fix the problem. But it's going to be a lot better for you if you know what's causing the problem. You go in and fix the problem, and 2 or 3 years later, you got the same problem again. That's not going to provide you with the best home repair. But let's go ahead and start with probably the most common problem, and that's going to have something to do with weight, whether it's a concentrated load from a post and a beam, something like that, transferring weight from above. I see a lot of times where people go in and they remove a wall or a section of a wall, and then they put a beam in, and the beam is now supporting the roof and the ceiling, but there's no structural support underneath the floor for that. It might be just sitting on top of a single 2x6 floor joist. I've seen this time and time again, and obviously you're not going to be watching this video if you're looking for information on how to remove a wall. But like a lot of my videos, you have got to watch a lot of them to get to figure out the reasons why you might not want to remove a wall. And this, of course, is one of them. Another problem might have something to do with water or moisture. Water accumulating above the flooring from some type of plumbing leaks, a roof leak, something like that. And then, of course, moisture accumulating in the crawl space from poor ventilation. But water and weight, or I should say moisture and weight, could be the number one culprit for a floor sagging. So with the water, I also need to mention the fact that this is going to be more of an obvious problem. You're going to see damage above. You're going to see damage below. Very good chance. So this one here might be a no-brainer. You could actually replace the framing components, the sheathing, the joist, any girder beams that are damaged with the same size materials, and probably be just fine. Another common problem you could run into will be the joists are spaced a little too far apart. So instead of 16 inches on center, they might be 24 inches on center. And of course, this can create a problem also. Now you can go on the internet and type in the phrase lumber span charts or lumber sizes for floor joist. And this might bring up some charts. Now, I need to point out that if you're looking at a floor joist and you're looking at the span charts and it's showing that you have a 12-foot span and you need a 2x6, let's say, and you have a 2x6 and your floor is sagging, then you might want to think about, hey, you know what, I got another problem, might be a problem somewhere else. Or you might not want to put that much more thought into it and just replace the joist with larger lumber. Now, for those of you who don't have the space, and this is a common repair a lot of people don't even think about, but let's just say you have a 2x6 that's sagging, install a 4x6 next to it, or put a few more 4x6s in your floor until you have a sturdy floor again that isn't sagging. So again, when I say replace it with larger lumber, a 2x8 might be appropriate. But if you don't have the room because it's not going to fit into the area, it's not going to be able to sit on top of the beam, then a 4x6 might be your next option. Another problem that can be confusing, especially to do-it-yourselfers, will be the fact that someone has already made a repair and somehow made it look like it was part of the original construction. And you're like, hey, wait a minute here. Why do I got 2x8 and 2x6? And I don't think you need to spend a lot of time on trying to figure that out. I'm not saying you don't spend any time on it, but if you can't really figure out if it was part of the original construction and you have an area that's sagging, and you have some smaller framing members or some other type of repair that was made, then maybe think about getting rid of this and then going back to the original construction, or replacing it with the larger lumber that is going to work. And again, 2x6 here, someone put it in here and you don't have room to put a 2x8 in, again, maybe a 4x6 would work here a little better. And of course, we can't forget the problem. This is a common problem even with vents. But if you don't have enough ventilation, and when I say this, there's a lot of problems with this theory. Sometimes too much ventilation brings moisture, air filled with moisture into this area and creates a problem. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that, but I can tell you that moisture that remains in a crawl space for a long period of time is going to absorb into the lumber. And of course, wet lumber is going to sag or deform a little easier than dry lumber. Another problem you might have would be a sinking foundation. And this is another common problem. Not always easy to spot because sometimes you're going to need a water level or a builder's level transit, something like that, to figure out if there is a problem somewhere else. So not always going to be a problem you can see. And I did actually redo the foundation on a house one time that I think the maximum at one corner was 2 inches. Now, if you think about this, is this going to be a big problem? You're worried about it sinking. I got that. But if it's moved 2 inches over the period of 60 years, is that really going to be that big of a deal? You might as well just make the repair. Now, I'm not telling you have to make the repair. Trust me. I don't know what situation you would be in. If it just sagged within the past 2 years, yeah, you got a problem. You're going to have to figure that out. But if you do have a situation where, it's kind of a common sense thing, hey, it's moved, an inch in 75 years. I think I'm just going to raise the floor, leave the foundation, and make the necessary adjustments to straighten the floor out. So foundation. Also, you could have a problem with your piers depending upon how far they have sank into the ground and the type of construction. I mean, if you have a pier and it's got a big crack in it, it's falling apart, it was made out of bricks, and the bricks are falling apart, yeah, it's probably going to be time for a new pier. Not too difficult. So these might be a little more obvious to figure out a problem like this than just looking at a sagging joist and trying to figure out why it's sagging. You see something that's falling apart, yes, it's going to have to be put back together and in some cases removed and replaced. Another problem you could have will be if there is a wall on top of the joist that is creating a problem for it. And this could be, you could have a double joist in here, you could have a triple joist in here, but it might have something to do with a concentrated load. Again, we're going back to the weight problem. There might be a large roof on top of this. Someone might have removed a wall, but you now have weight that was equally distributed across the floor joist to now being distributed to 2 points on the floor joist. And if the materials weren't sized properly, then you might need to make a repair. And something like this might not be that difficult. Go down here and put a concrete footing in here and raise everything back up to its correct position. And when I say raise it up to its correct position, with wood, this isn't always going to work out. If you have a 2-inch sag in a piece of lumber, or even a double 2 pieces of lumber, if you have a double joist here, the joist might need to be replaced. You're not going to be able to remove that sag. You're not going to be able to jack it out and straighten everything up. So keep that in mind also. So again, we might have a doubler underneath the wall or even a single joist. And I'm not suggesting that you're going to have a problem with a single joist. Just really depends upon how much weight and of course the size of the lumber also. Now, I just wanted to kind of point out, if you come across a situation like this where you have blocks tying to one joist on each side, then this is another way of, instead of installing a double joist, you can connect the 2 joists together with the blocks and have a bearing wall sit on top. And this might be a little more common for plumbing walls. So again, something that you might be underneath your house and wondering why in the heck they did this, or even it might have been something, might be confusing. You're looking at it something as maybe the previous homeowner did, and it's a little confusing. But this is another common practice used in the construction industry for supporting walls with a crawl space with the joist instead of a doubler. Next up on the list will be holes drilled through the joist for plumbing pipes, electrical wires, or heating ducts. Notches maybe for gas pipes. And I don't know why you would notch the bottom of a joist in a crawl space area, but you might notch the bottom of a joist for some reason in a second floor or third floor, for example. Too many holes, too big of holes, and you've got a sagging joist. So another thing to consider. And I will put a link here to another video that I did to provide you with a little more information on what would be acceptable from a building code reference book for notches and holes, and the kind of like the largest size you could drill in a joist and where that hole could or could not be located. And of course, lumbar imperfections like knots, large knots in a joist that seem to crack over time. And of course, something like this might not lead to just a sagging floor, but a floor where you can actually stand on it and kind of move up and down, and the floor will move with it. So lumbar imperfections, knots, just cracks, whatever, these are boards that are going to need to be probably replaced. And I wanted to use the word probably because I know a lot of people come in and make the problem worse by nailing a new joist onto the old one. And it's not really bearing on anything. It's not sitting on the building foundation. It's not sitting on the girder beam. So sistering a joist to a damaged joist might actually prevent it from moving or reduce some of the movement, but it might not always solve your problem. Now, I drew a full-size joist in here. Let's say we have a 2x8, and I put a 2x8 in here. That's probably going to be okay. Something like this shouldn't move that much, but there are plenty of repairs I've seen like this where someone comes in and they nail a 2x4 to it, maybe a 2x4 on both sides, and that might not work. So again, if your floor it is not moving and you have this repair, then it's working. If your floor is moving, you come up and you see something like this, then you might want to go to the next step, which would be removing the board, the broken board, and the one that is scabbed onto it, and replacing it with either a larger board or and maybe even a wider one, like I suggested. This is a 4x8, a 2x8, maybe a 4x8. And of course, as always, this is a real common repair I've seen. It's a smaller board, just simply nailed onto it. You might be bolted to it. And again, like I said, if it's bolted to it or nailed to it and your floor's not moving, you're not going to be underneath the house. If your floor is sagging and you come to something like this, then at least you know it is not working. So I pointed out most of the things, most common repair things I could think of. And again, it would be nice to figure out what is wrong with the floor before you start on the repairs. And I think most of that is just going to be from you simply crawling underneath your house with a flashlight, maybe a camera, your phone, or with a camera, something like that, and taking a few pictures of everything, and then going back up and looking at those pictures, maybe on a close-up, maybe load them onto a computer or something, and then go through it and see if any of these problems match up to problems that you have in your existing or in your home. So hope it helps. If it does, you know what to do. Hit the old thumbs up button, and don't forget to visit the website. Click on the repairs tab, and then the framing tab, and then the floor, or click on the crawl space tab in the on the main page, the main index page at homebuildingrepairs.com, go into the repair section and go to crawl space and check out some of those videos also for repair ideas and suggestions.